Here's the crazy thing. Are you ready for this? There's 61 million adults in the United States that have some sort of disability. 61 million.
For me, I've been blessed with an amazing faith that I had to build. I wasn't born with it. I had to build it when I broke my neck at the age of 17.
Welcome to the SOAR podcast powered by the Quadfather. My name is John Morris. I'm your co-host. I'm here today with the one and only Quadfather. That is Brian P. Swift. Brian is a 9-time author, 3-time bestseller, and he is the founder of Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation, also known as SOAR, and he is essentially giving quadriplegics the opportunity to live the fullest life, meaning if they want to go hunting, Brian's going to help them go hunting. If they want to scuba dive, Brian's going to help them scuba dive. No matter what it is that they want to achieve in their life, Brian has the resources to do that.
One of my goals was I'm going to start a nonprofit because I felt so blessed to be able to do the things I did in my life. We just don't help quadriplegics. We help paraplegics. We help anybody that has some type of ailment, condition, you name it, we work with them. Getting outside is where healing happens. It's the mindset that's missing. It's that convincing people that there is hope, there is a need to dream. Go start a business, go have a relationship, do things that get you back into any type of normalcy that is missing, and that is probably a large part of where I spend my time talking with people for hours, coaching them. It's not about always forgetting or letting it go. It's about just letting it be.
We are back. Welcome to the SOAR podcast powered by the Quadfather. My name is John Morris. I'm your co-host. I'm here today with the one and only Quadfather. That is Brian P. Swift.
Thank you, John. Yes, this is Brian P. Swift, a.k.a. the Quadfather.
I mean, what could be a better nickname, a better name for somebody who's out there doing it? By the way, if you don't know, we're going to tell you. Brian is a 9-time author, 3-time bestseller, and he is the founder of the SOAR nonprofit, which is SOARnonprofit.com. It's called Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation, also known as SOAR, and he is essentially giving quadriplegics the opportunity to live the fullest life, meaning if they want to go hunting, Brian's going to help them go hunting. If they want to scuba dive, Brian's going to help them scuba dive. No matter what it is that they want to achieve in their life, Brian has the resources to do that. And quickly, I would like you to go to www.soarnonprofit.com.
Correct.
And take a look at the website and see some of the amazing things they're doing. But we're going to ask you today a call to action. This community is absolutely requiring people to get involved and to join Brian in the quest to not only build community, but also to create these amazing opportunities. And it takes business leaders and individuals to contribute, whether it be their time, talent, or treasure. So if you would like to get involved, maybe you have a family member, maybe you have somebody that is close to you, or you just feel like you have to do some good works. Maybe you feel a calling from the good Lord upstairs to do some good works. Here is a great place to put your time, talent, and treasure. Brian, thanks for having me here again today. I'm looking forward to a great show with you.
John, welcome for coming. And just to add to that, we just don't help quadriplegics. We help paraplegics. We help people with MS. We help people with muscular dystrophy. We help anybody that has some type of ailment, condition, an injury that happened late in life, get back outdoors because that's where healing happens. So we work with children, women, men, vets, you name it, we work with them. Getting outside into God's country is where healing happens.
100%. Obviously, no matter what the situation, there's always a helping hand, and Brian is a steward to all of you out there that are in need of that. Brian, we had talked about, and I think it's a point of contention for you. I think it's a bit of irritation for you. And I think some of it has to do with the fact that you have taken the cards that have been dealt to you, and you've gone ahead and hit blackjack numerous times, right? You didn't bust, and you certainly didn't fold. Instead, you played your cards and you hit blackjack. Why is there such a point of contention, number one, with the community, and number two, with the fact that you see so many people out there that are from the community that maybe look like you and are dealing with the same circumstances, but they're kind of resigned to get involved. So what do you want to say to them? What's on your mind today?
Well, one, I don't always hit blackjack. I have been beat. I have been beat with 20 on the table. I have been beat with 21 on the table. So it is in those beatings that you build resilience, that you build grit, that you build confidence. So I have been beat. And everybody in life has. It has nothing to do with being in a wheelchair or having an injury. Everybody in life has lost with 20 on the table in blackjack. For me, I've been blessed with an amazing faith that I had to build. I wasn't born with it. I had to build it when I broke my neck at the age of 17. I'm a believer in family. It is one thing missing today. It is probably one of the biggest reasons our country is in such a shit mess, is because of the lack of family. And I believe the disability community is so fractured. We have an amazing organization called the Christopher Reeve Foundation. It has helped so many. I believe, unfortunately, since Christopher Reeves has passed, we are missing a voice out there. We're missing somebody that's going to say it like it is. We're also missing that connection between the powerful people that he connected with and the rest of us. Why do so many people fold their cards that are disabled? And I see people folding their cards that maybe have lost a leg. Man, I'd kill to be able-bodied and only have one leg. I would kill to be a paraplegic. Difference? I have no hand movement. I have no trunk balance. I have no abs and stomach muscles. Just to have those things. I'm not sure the total reason. I believe people forgot how to dream. I believe that the community lacks a major influence and direction. They lack a major influence in support. But there are people like me out there, and a lot of other people that I have come in contact with that are out there trying to support, but it's fractured in a sense that I belong to, say, three disability communities that have approximately, let's say, close to 50,000 people in them. And if I put out a post and say, hey, just do me a favor and like it, share it, or go to this podcast and like it, share it, and sign up for it, I might get 3 people. Mm-hmm. I've tried to give away equipment, $2,000 equipment attachments that go to wheelchairs, and all I ask people for is email me your contact information, so I got to send it to you if you win. Like and share the post. I've put that out there for almost a month. I got 3 people. 3 people that sent me their information. So, your tolerance for people whining that aren't doing something about it, for me, is almost totally gone.
Well, there's amazing gratitude for the 3 people that got involved.
Absolutely.
But here's the crazy thing. Are you ready for this? There's 61 million adults in the United States that have some sort of disability. 61 million. Okay, so how many people are in the United States? It's approaching 400 million, correct?
Could be. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah,
number,
I think
John.
it's in that range. It's over 300 million. It's somewhere around 400 million, I believe. 61 million have some sort of disability. Now, that's according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which is the CDC, right?
Yes.
So those are real stats. 61 million people. why is it so fractured? I know you talk about Christopher Reeves, but moreover, why is it that do you think that people have maybe lost some of their drive and their desire because they are just trying to function on a daily basis, and so easily they could get involved by simply sharing a post, by commenting, by liking, or having somebody near and dear to them essentially do it for them if they don't have the ability to do that? Like, why do you think it's so fractured, and why do you think that people just don't get involved?
Man, that's the $1,000,000 question. I think you hit on a couple things. One, I don't think they believe that their click on sharing, liking, subscribing makes a difference. I think people feel like they really don't have any power, any say in the quality of their life. You know what I mean? I'm one person. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why people don't get involved. Now, I have thrown out the offer to help people start businesses, help people write books, help people set goals, help people do whatever they wanted. And it's amazing how many people just aren't interested in helping themselves. Now, that could be because of years and years, they've been let down, they've not had that glimpse of hope. But there's too many people out there that have this opportunity. I got hurt in 1979. We didn't have technology. There was no Facebook. There was no YouTube. There was no cell phones. And I knew people that found a way to continue their education because the jobs they had were manual and they weren't going to go back to them. Found a way to start other businesses. Found a way to go to school. Found a way to create relationships. And I see less of that now than ever.
So, at what point did you decide to start SOAR? And what was the driver behind it? Because there had to be something that inspired you, irritated you, lit a fire under you where you said, you know what? I'm going to be the one. If no one else is going to do this, then I'm going to do it. So, like, where did that come from? And what compelled you to take the steps necessary to start this foundation?
So, I got hurt when I was 17 and went through the usual channels of, you have surgery done, you go to rehab. The rubber hits the road when you get home from rehab because now it's real life. And my dad really never gave me a chance to sit around the house and feel sorry for myself. And I had a lot of friendships that stayed with me. I mean, I have friends from third grade, and I think a big reason that is I didn't become that bitter, hurt person. I was still me. I was still sarcastic. I was still fun. And we just went out and did things. And I realized that I felt so empowered when I was outside doing something like playing fast pitch. They found, they just duct tape a bat to my hand and be like, all right, get up there. We're throwing the ball. You're going to try to hit it. Get up. I just tried to stay involved, and I never felt any less empowered to try, even though I wasn't myself. I couldn't stand up there and hit the ball a country mile. I knew that. But being outside, I realized little by little how I felt. I'd go out. I did all my therapy outside. I rode outside. Started to push my wheelchair. And, life gets in the way. I went to school full time, and you realize that where you need to realize at least where that feel good comes from. And the more I got outside, the more I did. I grew up hunting and doing archery and fishing, and I started to miss that. So I found ways to go fishing. I found ways to do archery. And I realized that this is helping me with balancing life. It's creating all those feel goods. And I realized I'd look around. And there's not a lot of people doing this that are
Yeah.
not just in wheelchairs, but maybe they're an amputee, maybe they got MS, maybe they have CP, whatever the condition is. There's not a lot of us out here. If this makes me feel good, I guarantee it'll make everybody else feel good. So after 25 years of working in corporate, outside the house, which wasn't supposed to be something quads did, after 25 years working outside the house, one of my goals was I'm going to start a nonprofit because I felt so blessed to be able to do the things I did in my life.
So in 2022, $200 billion was spent by the government, multiple different agencies within the government, but government funding for the disabled was $200 billion.
I don't know where it goes to.
That was the question I was going to ask you. Where is it going? And is it really having the impact on the community that it needs to? Obviously, money spent maybe at government buildings, sidewalks, those types of things, accessibility within buildings, making sure they're regulated and all those things. Fantastic. But what's being done for the state of mind and to create the quality of life and the opportunities? Is that money being spent for that, or is it the bare essentials?
No, I don't see the money being spent on that. Now, I agree with you. We've come a long way with curb cuts. We've come a long way with entryways, ramps, things of that nature. I know they're still doing research. One of the causes this year for SOAR was, we're not here to do research. I do not give to research. I believe the cure is in thriving. I don't care what you have, what you're dealing with. It is, for me, about figuring out how to thrive today, live today. And if the cure comes, that's great. But if you're not living, if you're not thriving, if you're not moving forward in life, then you have kind of succumbed to your condition or injury. And not everybody has that support. I get it. I didn't get where I'm at because of money. I got where I'm at because of mindset. And so, I'm all about care. Let's care for people. Care for people is not just putting in curb cuts, is not just saying, hey, the government gave the Christopher Reeves Foundation $20 million. That's great. They can hand it out and get people equipment, but it's the mindset that's missing. It's that convincing people that there is hope, there is a need to dream, go start a business, go find it, go have a relationship, go do things, go start to drive, do things that get you back into any type of normalcy that is missing. And that is probably a large part of where I spend my time talking with people for hours, coaching them at no cost, coaching them on how do I get past this? How do I deal with this? How do I mentally, just mentally deal? And I'm talking about some of them are just so simple. It's about expectations, about setting goals. I get audience. How many people have written goals? I'll ask that to 50 people, and nobody will own up to the fact I've got goals. I got goals. Are they written down? Well, no, but go look at statistics. I forget what
Harvard
the statistic
did a study. It was like 86% of people that have written goals have some extraordinarily larger number of success rates if they write them down.
If they write them down. And some people just don't get that. And you'll see this in business and in entrepreneurial success. It is the minute, mundane, little things that make a big difference. I've got goals, but they're not written down. I don't need to write them down. I know them. You know what? I know what you may think that it's a mundane little task to write them down for whatever reason. I didn't do the study, but it's not just Harvard. You look at a lot of studies, and they're going to show people who write them down are way more successful than people that don't. I don't know the reason. I just believe and try to follow what successful people do.
The amazing thing about that is I had a moment in life where I've hit a wall, and I started writing down not only goals but I am statements. And you had done an amazing post about that. And the I am statement, the way that it works is, if you're a believer, especially, you believe that the way that you would talk to God is not by begging God, but by essentially telling God, this is who you are, this is what you want, and you're so grateful that you already have it. So I started doing I am statements. For instance, I would wake up in the morning and I wouldn't feel very strong that day. Maybe I was a little bit off. So I would be very aware of how I was feeling. So I would write down then, I am strong. And I'm grateful that I have this strength because it's going to lead me to success today. And I would write it as if I already had it. Well, sure as heck, wouldn't you know that I would feel strong throughout that day and achieve success? Here's the interesting thing. I learned this thing about Tesla. Tesla believed the power of 3, 6, and 9. The numbers 3, 6, and 9. He felt like the number 9 was the most perfect number possible. In fact, it got to a crazy point where literally when he would get to his office, he would walk around the building 3 times before he would go in. And it was almost an obsessive disorder the way he would work the numbers 3, 6, and 9. But he was known to have dreams, and ideas would come to him in his sleep because he would write these statements down. And one of the things he wrote down is I am statements. So I started writing down these I am statements that turned into goal statements, and they started coming true. So talk a little bit about kind of your formula of how you set goals. And then you talked about the fact that businesses shouldn't have a this is what makes us different statement. They should have a very clear defining I am statement.
What their culture is.
Yeah.
I mean, we as individuals need to create a culture for ourselves. I need to, as a man of the house, I need to create a culture for how I'm raising my family, how my house is. As a business, you need to create an I am statement for your culture. What is your culture about? So I wake up every day with, I am blessed. I mean, that's the way I start my day. I am blessed. And as I'm getting up with help, because I do need help to get dressed and whatnot. My mind starts to just revolve around, I'm blessed that I have this person here, and I'm blessed to be able to get in the wheelchair because I know what I've got to do next. And the night before or days before, I have kind of planned out my week. Now, life does not work out that beautifully. It is a bumpy road. So, sometimes you have to revisit what I wanted to do 2 days ago. I'm going to do it today, but I'm blessed to be able to now do it today because maybe I asked a friend to come over and give me a hand to accomplish something that I could get done. But I start it with gratitude. I start it with an I am statement. And I find that is empowering. I try to get outside as soon as I can. If it's just like today, I bet you I was just sitting in the driveway. I just want to get outside for whatever reason. For whatever reason, Tesla did his 3 laps. When I am outside, when I go do my 2 or 3 mile ride, my mind is just on hyperdrive. Like, this is what you could do. This is what you should do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to add to do. Or that's the answer to what I've been that's been bugging me. I guess it gives me a lot of time. And I'll say this to everybody out there. If you don't do this, maybe you need to do more self-reflection.
Yeah.
Self-reflection is beautiful, but you better be ready to be the number one reason successful people are extremely successful. Athletes are playing at high levels. Whoever entrepreneurs are accomplishing major things is they are 100% honest with themselves. And you better be able to beat yourself up over what you are not doing, what you need to do, and just accept it and then go chase it down. Make it happen. But you got to start with honesty. I am truly blessed. People might not believe that when I say that. Oh, you're in a wheelchair, you're a quad, you can't use your hands, you can't. You're right, but that doesn't mean I'm not blessed. And then I chase down what I want to do. Whatever that may be. I at one point, I wanted to finish college. I wanted to learn how to drive. I always wanted a family. Well, figure it out. Then what? There's another statement that I love throwing out. Then what? I broke my neck. Well, now what? I broke my neck. Now what happens? Now what do I want to happen is more important. So now what? And that's another question. Self-reflection. Ask yourself, now what? And then go figure it out. When I'm outside, like SOAR wants to get people outside, I can figure out my now what's way easier than when I'm just inside doing whatever.
So, Brian, I started reading this book. It's called Becoming Supernatural. And one of the lines in there that absolutely caught my eye was I surrendered to the memory of myself for something greater. And I thought to myself, how powerful, because I believe that I, in fact, have done that. And I believe that you've done that as well. And I think that your community that you're speaking to right now needs to do that. They need to surrender to their old self so they can allow something greater to come in. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And I have surrendered. At some point, you've just got to understand this is who you are. So it goes back to a question people ask. How do you deal with? How did you deal with? How do you function with? So how did you deal with breaking your neck? How do you deal with now being out there and having people stare at you? So here's the bottom line. It's not about always forgetting or letting it go. It's about just letting it be. So what I used to be doesn't matter now. I've got to get comfortable with who I am today and be present with who I am today and be okay with me. I'd like me. I'd buy myself a Coke. I mean, I'm that comfortable with me. Some people find that, well, how could you be so good, comfortable with it? How could you be so confident? Because I am. I gave up. I surrendered the old Brian Swift, and I'm telling you, I'm a way better Brian Swift now than I ever was when I was walking. Way more powerful, way more God-fearing. God is in my life now. Not that he wasn't then. I was brought up going to church and a believer, but the empowerment of giving up and being okay with who you are definitely clears a lot of noise out of your life.
Yeah, for sure. So what would be your advice to a community of people out there that are maybe feeling a bit empty? Perhaps they're feeling like they're stuck, if you will. And this could go to the community of folks that are disabled. It could go to somebody who mentally is struggling, or to somebody who feels like they're empty inside and doesn't have the Spirit of God inside of them. Like, what would be your advice to them if you could kind of bullet point it in 5 easy, kind of points, or 10 easy points, or if you just want to riff on it,
sure,
that's fine too.
No, we'll go with that. I think you have to start with some self-reflection and be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think you have to start with that. And then I think you have to start with...
I got to stop you there, because a lot of people are saying that. I hear it so often, the idea of become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Can you dig into that just a little bit? Like, absolutely. What does that mean?
I guess another way of putting it is you have to step over the fears that are keeping you from moving forward. That's ultimately what it means. Mm-hmm. The fear of... You've got to get over the fear of people staring at you, the fear of what if I don't succeed, the fear of I can't physically do that now. You have to get over the fears and start to get at least closer to the fears, because if you don't cross them, you can't move forward.
Got it. So become comfortable with being uncomfortable. That would be one of the things you would recommend. Self-reflection.
Absolutely.
Right?
Self-reflection. Writing goals.
Yeah.
Write them down. Write your goals down. And when I say write your goals down, I mean, start simple. And, if they're too, and make sure they're scary. Like, they better be crazy challenging at some point, but start out with simple ones. Tomorrow, I'm going to exercise for 10 minutes. And tomorrow, I'm going to try to wake up with gratitude. Tomorrow, I'm going to get a pad of paper and start journaling. Tomorrow, I'm going to call 5 people I haven't talked to and start to try to get them into my life. Tomorrow, I'm going, whatever that is that you could do, write that down. So today, you're making that decision and you're starting to write down the things you can do. Maybe it's, hey, when I get done with my goals, I'm going to call 3 people today. So that would be the next thing.
You ready for this? The Harvard study that we were talking about. Of the students who were polled, 3% of the students had their goals written down.
Wow.
Right? Only 3%. 13% of the students had goals in their minds, but not written down. And 84% of the students had no specific goals whatsoever. Now, here's the kicker. Years later, they revisited the study to see where people are at. And the 3% that had written down their goals, it doesn't define exactly how much, but were earning significantly more than the other 97% that weren't. So if your goal is to earn more money, that's awesome. But I think the goal really is to have a more fulfilled life, to not live in a depressive state, to not feel like you're left out, to feel accomplished, to feel fulfilled, to feel closer to God, to do all of these different things, to live like the Quadfather is living,
Absolutely.
right? To live out that life. So if you're not, number one, defining your goals because you have self-reflection and because you're willing to be bold and do things that are uncomfortable, right? If you're not writing those goals down, there's a strong likelihood that they are just kind of floating off in the air and they're in your mind and then they're out of your mind. If they're written down and they're visible and you see them and you stick with them, you have a much stronger likelihood of finding love, getting closer to God, earning more money, feeling more achieved, feeling like you have this holistic approach to life.
I mean, and it's this simple. And for those that don't believe there's a difference, grab a suitcase, pack up your car, pack it up, throw it in your car, and head out on vacation. Well, what would you think? Hop in the car and go. How comfortable would you feel? How comfortable would your family feel? What do you pack? Are you packing for warm? Are you packing for cold?
I know my wife would not be on that trip. She's a planner.
So here's the bottom line. If you don't know your destination, how could you possibly pack, prepare, and get ready and convince the people around you that this is a good idea?
And not run out of money on the way to the trip.
Money,
you went
gas, whatever.
I mean,
food.
Yeah.
You know what? This is what happens when you don't write down goals. Goals are your roadmap. That's all it is. Do you know how they invented the whole navigation system in the cars? They started with destinations and worked their way backwards. I believe I read that somewhere. That's how they did it. Goals are your roadmaps. And it's not about the disability community. I asked my kid for those people that are in college or parents whose kids are in college, why are you taking that major?
Oh gosh, I can tell you they don't know.
What are you going to do with that major? If they don't have a good answer, then you better sit them down and change their major. It's simple.
Or pause the college because you're just wasting money.
Absolutely. I mean, what is their goals? So every year between Christmas and New Year's, I sit together with my family. I started this when they were probably 7 years old and asked them, what are your explain goals? And to just give me three things you want to, for younger people, it was easier to explain 3 things that like you would like to do better or achieve this next year. And then I asked them 3 things that you didn't do well this past year that you think you could do better at. And we hung them on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And we referred back to those goals. For a parent, it was easy to say, hey, John, remember you wrote this down. Are your actions, following what you really wanted?
Brian, I was blessed to learn this as a young sales manager. And part of the company standards of performance and culture was to do that same exercise with, if you were managing a sales team, we kind of had a charted path. We'd ask them what they thought about their performance for that year, what they would do better, and what their goals were for the upcoming year, financially, personally, day to day, and then kind of ask them to map out how are they going to get from where they are to where they want to go. I was blessed to learn that. I then went to lead a sales team with a company that was doing well but fairly stagnated. And I got to tell you, when I sent out that formula to the sales team and I CC'd the CEOs, they were blown away. They were like, this is an amazing exercise. Well, wouldn't you know it, that like 85% of that sales team either met or exceeded the goals that they had set, and they had never set goals before. So to your point, this is not just for the community of folks that are paraplegics or paralyzed or disabled to get more involved.
Absolutely
But
not.
if you're a leader of a business, you should be doing this yourself. But if you're managing people, it's certainly extremely important as well.
And for your life. Everybody out here has a life.
Yeah.
May not be the cards you were dealt with, but guess what? Then it's time to bluff and it's time to play that hand. Just that simple. And guess what will help you play that hand? Goals.
Okay, so we've got self-reflection, do the uncomfortable, write down your goals. What else?
Those 3 are great steps,
Great start points for sure.
Absolutely great start points to get moving forward. I believe that if you are not continually growing and educating yourself from two points of view. So the first one would be find an author, a book, something to read to help you in that direction. If you're looking at starting a business, then go out and there are so many great authors, that you could read that talk about starting businesses, how to be a great entrepreneur. I mean, I go back to Zig Ziglar days, Les Brown days. I could keep going, with the who's and the what's, but find some material, and now you could just get it on your computer. Start reading every day. Start reading every day, whatever it is, a chapter, 10 pages, an hour, whatever that is. So start reading and start to grow. Yeah. Next thing, and I said that was twofold, is strengthen your relationship with God. I mean, that probably should have been the number one thing I said, looking back at it. But I'm not here today blessed with 3 amazing kids, married 36 years, and living fairly well without God's grace and what he's given me. This never happens. We're not sitting here today. I'm not sitting here today. I know some of your backstory. You're probably not sitting here today.
Tell you for sure.
If it wasn't for God's grace, it probably should have been the first thing I said, is start a relationship. And I'm not saying, I'm not talking about religion.
Yeah, we're not talking about go to church.
No,
we're talking about talk to God.
Absolutely. This isn't about getting up and going into
Come
church.
to know God, like talk to God, like have a relationship, like in your mind, in your heart, and write it down and verbally, like read about it, have a relationship, and speak to Him, not in a way where you're, as I mentioned, where you're begging, but you're essentially giving gratitude, you're being thankful, and you're essentially asking for guidance. And at the same time, you're telling God your I am statements.
You are 100% vulnerable and totally accepting the fact that you are a child of God and that you were here to serve. As a leader like you in the sales organizations, marketing organizations, I totally live the philosophy of servant leadership. I wasn't there to be the big leader. I was there to serve others. And in serving others, like I tell my kids, you know how you get what you want out of life? You help others get what they want out of life.
Yeah.
You put others first.
Lead with a give.
And when you put God first every morning or whenever, that time is to have that conversation, maybe numerous times, amazing things happen.
All right, once again, here with Brian P. Swift. He is the founder of SOAR, which is Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. It's www.soarnonprofit.com. Please take a look. Please contribute. And we believe that with every individual getting involved or at least having awareness, we increase the odds that we can help people to have a more fulfilled life. So, Brian, tell me real quick before we wrap up this episode, what is the latest and greatest victory? What type of project have you put together for somebody to kind of check it off their bucket list, to feel amazing because they did something that maybe a year ago was deemed completely impossible? There was no chance in the world that they were ever going to be able to do that. And because of SOAR and your good works and your community and your donors, the great businesses in the community that understand that giving back is such a fantastic thing, and they contribute to SOAR, and they get to live out this beautiful dream where they're contributing to somebody's life improving and changing. So give us one of those amazing stories of the latest and greatest achievement that you've had.
So there's a gentleman out there. You'll find him on Facebook. His name's Bill Bogdan. He loves the outdoors. He works full time. He's a paraplegic, and he loves canoeing. So we had approached a forest preserve community in Will County and asked about accessible opportunities to canoe, and they didn't have one. So Bill and I kind of collaborated and finally got them to put in an accessible pier launch for a canoe. And Bill finally was able to get out without the help of 5, 4, whatever amount of people. He was able to get out there with his kids and canoe on the river with his family, which was something he's always wanted to do. And he goes out there alone sometimes, or with his daughter, or he gets out there with his daughter and his son, or his entire family, and canoes. We helped him not just with barking up the right trees to get the forest preserve to help, but he's got his own canoe now. He's got the right paddles. Some people use outriggers on the canoe to keep it stable because of balance. So we gave him a grant to help him get his canoe accessible, that he could launch and go canoeing whenever he wants to go.
So, Brian, what was the reaction from family and just in general? What was the reaction? What were those smiling faces like?
I mean, that's all you had to see. I mean, picture says 1,000 words. I mean, him out there, not by himself. And that's what a lot of people miss. I have 3 kids. Do you know how many times I sat and watched them ride rides at Disney and not be able to? How many times I've sat because a beach wasn't accessible and I couldn't get on the sand. It would have taken two hulky guys to lift me or drag me through the sand, looking at the
Man, we don't
expressions.
think about those things. We just don't.
I went to Florida this past year, and I couldn't get on the sand. But, I guess as a man of the family, I vowed to never let my injury affect anybody else. So my wife and 3 kids went out into the ocean and had fun. And I have to sell them on go, take as much time as you want. I will be sitting here waiting, reading a book, and the joy I get knowing that my hard work enabled us to go on a vacation. And for the first time, my younger son, who's 22, first time he was ever in an ocean, was only the second time my daughter was, and probably only a handful of times my wife was. I had to sit there and be happy with that.
Boy, oh boy.
Inside, it tears me up for several reasons. One, I wanted to enjoy the time. 1, 2, I wanted to put my kid on my shoulders and throw him into the water like my dad did with me. Yeah. 3, I wanted to be there in case something happened. That is my job. I had to put my faith in God, like I do so many times, that he's going to watch over them and allow them to have a wonderful time and not think about me. We provided the opportunity for Bill to have his wonderful journey with his
not
entire
sit on the sideline.
Exactly. With his entire family to go canoeing.
See, we don't think about these things, ladies and gentlemen. We don't think about the mental strain and the emotional strain and the hit to the heart and the hit to pride. And pride is not a good thing, of course, as we know, but there is a hit to that element of being a father or being a mother or being a brother, being somebody that wants to be involved in those full experiences and just completely misses out. And S.O.A.R gives that back to folks, or gives it to them for the first time in some cases. So what amazing works that you're doing.
Thank you.
There's many more stories like that. You could certainly take a look at the website and get a whole bunch of those stories. And we look forward to continue to bring this podcast to you to tell more of those stories. Hopefully in upcoming episodes, we'll have some guests on. Maybe we'll go visit some folks and we'll do some stories to tell you a little bit about the impact that is being had. But I just want you to think about this for a second. If you're a business owner out there, obviously it's really important that you build a culture. And one of the ways that you can build a culture and build a team is to get people focused on something outside of the production of your product or service, to get them focused on something that is truly meaningful and fulfilling, to get them focused on doing good deeds and good works. And 90% of the money that goes to most 501c3s in the United States is coming from government funding. It's coming from grants. It's coming from taxpayers. It's coming from all these different areas. That extra 10% that could make or break whether or not a 501c3 continues and whether or not it can do the amazing things that it needs to do for its community, for its customers, if you will, comes from the good hearts, the good works of brands, of businesses out there. If you're looking for something that you could do to team build, to make your team feel amazing. And by the way, somebody on your team probably is impacted by somebody. There's 61 million people in the United States with some sort of disability. I have a strong feeling that if you have a business, they know somebody that is impacted. Your contribution, big or small, could have a huge impact not only on those lives, but on the lives of the people that are stewarding your brand, that will go home and talk about how amazing it felt to give somebody an amazing life experience. And S.O.A.R provides you that opportunity. So please check out www.soarnonprofit.com. And Brian, you have 9 books, right? 3 bestsellers.
Yes.
What would be let's just go with one book. What would be the best book right now on your mind for somebody listening to this to go look up on Amazon or to go check out and to maybe get a little bit of a better vibe as to who is Brian P. Swift and where are you coming from?
It's called Up. Getting Up is the Key to Life.
There you go. It's called Up. Getting Up is the Key to Life. You can find it on Amazon. We will put the link in the description of this podcast below so you can easily get on this book and start reading it and start feeling good. We hope that you enjoyed this. This is the SOAR podcast powered by the Quadfather.
Thank you, John.
Cheers.
I'm the Quadfather, OG of the grind, rolling through life, leave the haters behind. Built from the struggle, yeah, you know who I be. Respect to the hustle, that's the energy of the OG.